Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Vanessa. I'm very excited to get into today's video because I'm going to be doing a little holiday reading vlog. It's the end of the year. So we're going to start off by seeing what I'm going to be reading in today's video. So the first book that I'm going to start with is 'Tis the Season for Revenge. This is by Morgan Elizabeth, and what I know about this one is that we have Abby, who has been dating Richard. They've been dating for about 4 years. Abby's like, heck yes, this is the perfect time that Richard is going to invite me to his law firm's Halloween party. Abby's super excited because they've been dating for 4 years and she is expecting that Richard is going to make partner at his law firm, and this will just set them up for a potential engagement and then obviously happy marriage, happy life, everything. The day of this party, Richard comes over to Abby's house and dumps her, and he is such a douchebag. Like, he is the worst. So Abby comes up with a plan to date his boss. That's all I know about this. That's all I want to know, but it's looking to be like a very fun start to this holiday vlog. Good morning. I am currently about 40% through this book, and I love the main male character, Damien. Like, oh my gosh, he's a little intense at first. Like, after just one date, he is all in. He is so sweet to Abby, and Abby's kind of like, whoa, this is weird. Like, I've been dating this trash man for 4 years, and then this really solid, amazing dude comes along and just blows my mind. Like, wow, he's so smooth. He brings one of his clients to Abby because she's a makeup artist, and her best friend is also there as well. He's like, oh, you know, Abby, I want to call you later, but just in case I can't get a hold of Abby, he asked the best friend for her number as well. And then he comes back to get the client when they're done with the makeup. He's like, here, I brought you coffee, and I also brought your best friend coffee too. And Abby at first thought that he was getting the best friend's number to hit on her. Little did she know, he was just being so kind. He genuinely really likes Abby. So I'm like, you know, it's predictable. Romances are predictable. I'm just like, when's this shoe gonna drop? When is he gonna find out that this is Richard's ex? I don't know. I'm really loving this story so far. So if you're looking for a really cute holiday read with a little bit of revenge, this is turning out to be really great. So I'm gonna get back to my reading. I just finished 'Tis the Season for Revenge, and it was so cute. So I'm gonna give this 5 stars. This was a freaking banger of a book. It was small but mighty. Without spoiling, I will say that the main character, Abby, gets revenge on her ex-boyfriend by dating his boss. There is a part of this, again, I'm not trying to spoil anything, but she goes on a dating app while she's very drunk, and she happens to match with her ex's boss. That obviously becomes a plot point in the book. So one thing I will say that a lot of people hate in books, this did not happen. I think that the communication was very well done in this book. I was like, great, like, how is this lying thing gonna like ruin their relationship, and like, are they gonna get back together? Like, no. I think that because the main male character, Damien, was a little bit older, I think they said he was 36, and I want to say she's in her early 30s if I'm not mistaken, but he's 36, so I feel like he's a more mature man. Like, he has his stuff together and he's able to like be like, oh, okay, I understand that, like, cool, you know? But all of the revenge stuff I think was so funny. He was so understanding. He was so sweet. Like, such a swoon-worthy character. He calls her his naranja, which is orange, but I think he calls her like it translates to like half orange, but it really means like half of my heart. And I was like, that is adorable. So I think that if you're looking for a fantastic holiday read, you have to pick this one up. It's just so cute. Like, you get a little bit of revenge and you get a lot of swoon-worthy moments and a heck of a lot of spice. This is a very spicy book. Like, it's not the spiciest book I've ever read or listened to, but those spicy scenes were spicy. I was like, whoo, all right, I'm gonna need a minute. Anyways, have fun with this one. Enjoy. I am going to be picking up my next holiday read, which is going to be
a little longer than a few minutes later.
Okay, so that last clip probably ended just a little bit weirdly. I initially had some other books planned, and then the timing of everything has caught up to me, so I've had to shift gears a little bit, and I have edited out other books that I was going to be reading. I decided to go with some different books. These ones are a little bit shorter, but they're also some ARCs that I've received, whether they're through NetGalley or not. So this one that I'm currently reading is called At Home With You This Christmas by Marie Landry. I believe I got this one through Instagram. I saw that this was a book that she was advertising, and I was like, ooh, this would be perfect for my holiday vlog. So here I am reading it. There aren't very many reviews because it did just come out. So it came out on November 15th, 2024. It is currently November 28th, so Thanksgiving Day in the US. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about this book. So we have Hazel, who has been dreading the holidays this year because her mother died 6 months ago, and it's going to be her first Christmas without her mom. So it's kind of a sadder story. So just kind of go into that knowing this is one of the trigger warnings. So dealing with like grief and loss. So she's lost her mom 6 months ago, and she actually witnessed her mother like just dying in front of her eyes. You know, she spent all her time with her mom. Her mom was her best friend. Right after her mom dies, she ends up breaking up with her boyfriend Mason, and they had been dating for like 4 years or something. She was like, you know, you've been such a big part of my life, and you've been a big part of who I am with my mom, and I need to know who I am without you guys. Like, I've lost my mom, and now I don't want to feel like I only know who I am with you. So she's dealing with a lot of loss right now. So it is kind of a sadder story at the beginning. The mom has a sister, so it's Hazel's aunt. She's supposed to go stay with her aunt for Christmas. She's supposed to spend like 2 weeks there or something, and she shows up and her aunt's not there. Her aunt's kind of this like whimsical person. She's just kind of a free spirit. And she's like, oh shoot, Hazel, I am not there. I won't be there for like another week. So I don't know, maybe we can come back and have Christmas at your house. So kind of a like really shitty response, to be honest. But when Hazel's there, she somehow runs into Mason's mom, who's like, oh, I didn't realize that you were actually going to come. Mason said that you might not be able to make it because you're working, but I'm so glad that you're here. So Mason hasn't told his family that they actually broke up 6 months ago. The next several chapters of this story are Hazel spending time with Mason and his family for the holidays, and she has really great relationships with each of Mason's family members. You know, she's got a great relationship with his sister, and his sister has a child named Poppy. I think I'm currently like halfway through this book right now, but so far we're starting to see a little bit more of Hazel and Mason flirting and just trying to like work it out. This does have the tropes of like forced proximity and one bed trope. Just be mindful of that going in if you don't like those kinds of things, or if you do. So right now, you know, we're just kind of developing the relationships again after Hazel hasn't really talked to these people in 6 months, and I suspect that at some point it's all going to come out, but I don't know. Gonna keep reading. I will be going off to celebrate Thanksgiving with my partner's family, so I won't have too much time to listen to it, but I will probably get back to it later and let you know how it wraps up. All right, welcome back. It is several hours later, and I'm back from our Thanksgiving festivities. We had a nice, lovely time. Definitely always eat more than I probably should. It was lots of good food. But anyways, I did just finish At Home With You this Christmas. I thought this was really cute. So I ended up reading this 4 stars. First of all, before going into this book, I will say that people may want to check trigger warnings, especially if things like grief and loss of a parent are particular triggers to you, because this does deal with that pretty heavily. Actually, her author's note at the very beginning instead of at the end, it talked about how she actually lost her own mother and was kind of writing the story, so it's probably like a little bit cathartic for her in trying to deal with the loss of her mother and just healing from that experience, because I've heard that losing a parent or losing anybody really close to you, it changes you pretty drastically and can really, you know, affect people. So I just want that to be a front trigger. But yeah, this was definitely a different holiday read than 'Tis the Season for Revenge, where it was dealing a little bit more with grief during the holidays and how Hazel ended up at her ex-boyfriend's house for the holidays and really just rekindles this relationship with him and realizes that she made a mistake in breaking up with him. She didn't have to go through this alone, and that he was hurting too, and she could lean on him for the support that she might have needed. Like, she just didn't have to do it all alone. I think that Mason was written really well too, because while he was definitely a cinnamon roll kind of character, he was wildly, madly in love with Hazel and wanted to give her the space that she needed, as well as make it known that he loves her and that he basically wanted to get back together. He saw a future with her. So it was really cute how the story finally wrapped up and the epilogue was done in Mason's perspective, and it was just like a cute little touch. But one thing I will say, I don't think I recall anything happening, but after the first couple of chapters or whatever, when we met the aunt, well, we met the aunt initially, and she had that whole like snafu at the beginning, we didn't really see much of her other than them talking about the state of her house. I don't know if that would have been helpful to add that character back in, and if Hazel could have some sort of hashing out with her aunt. Like, it's not like she was a shitty person, I guess, because the author explained it in the beginning, I think pretty well, that she wasn't a bad person. She just had a very different lifestyle than Hazel's mom. While Hazel's mom was very like nurturing and caring, Hazel's aunt was definitely more carefree, on the go. Like, she probably didn't have kids or anything, so like she just had, you know, just a different lifestyle than the one that her mom had. So it wasn't like she was a bad person, but she definitely didn't forget that Hazel was coming, and so it's kind of like, oh, what happened there? Like, I would have been upset, and I would have wanted to have a conversation with her, be like, what the heck. Anyways, I thought that book was really cute and definitely gives some of those like heartwarming vibes, but just also know there's kind of this sad air to it. So overall, I would definitely recommend it. I think I want to pick up one more book for this vlog, and I think I can do it before the video goes live. So I'm going to be reading Whisk Till Peaked by Zea Kayleigh Galan. This is the third book in the Alpenglow Ridge series, so I have yet to read the second one, but you can read them as interconnected standalones. So this one is more of the holiday romance book, and it's a little bit shorter, 261 pages, so I think I can do it. I am probably gonna start it in the morning, but I don't know what it's about, so I will probably tell you what it's about tomorrow. So stay tuned. Okay, so my shelves are a bit chaotic behind me right now. I know it doesn't look too chaotic to y'all probably, but for me, it's crazy because I'm trying to unhaul some things, and I am trying to take off a bunch of books that I want to try to read for 2025 for sure. Otherwise, I'll be unhauling them. So it's a little bit chaotic here, and I'm hoping to put out a video of all of this stuff, behind the scenes stuff, sometime soon. But I want to update you guys on the book that I have been reading for the past like day and a half. So I started Whisk Till Peaked by Zea Kayleigh Galan, and this is a book between Tony and Drea, and they became best friends like 4 years ago or something like that. But there are some secrets. Like, Tony comes from a not so great family. They kind of deal drugs and things like that, and ever since he met Drea, because he left his home life, I think he was from Louisiana, but he left that situation because he was like, I don't want to be in this drug business with y'all, and he moved to Alpenglow Ridge in Colorado, and that's where he met Drea. Now, Drea is a single mom who she is no longer involved with the baby daddy Colton. Like, he just seems like a really aloof parent. He is a sheriff in like a town several hours away, or so, something like a couple hours away, and he's not really involved in the daughter's life. I believe the daughter's name is Mariah, if I'm saying that correctly. My Speechify keeps calling her Maria, so that's stuck in my head, but I'm pretty sure her name is Mariah. Drea just opened up her own coffee and bakery shop, and she gets this invitation from Colton to bake this stuff for this big like police retreat. So she takes on the job, but ends up getting snowed in at the winter resort and realizes, oh shoot, I forgot a tray of my desserts or whatever back home. And lo and behold, Tony shows up with the tray of treats. I think he drove like 5 hours to give them to her, but he ends up getting snowed in with her. By the way, I forgot to mention that Tony and Drea are not only best friends, but they have a crush on each other, and they won't admit it. Drea doesn't want to ruin the friendship. Tony wants to be with her, but he also doesn't want to ruin the friendship. And at the time, he had like a girlfriend, and Drea didn't want to like mess that up or whatever. So they're kind of just dancing around that until they get snowed in, and and realize they can't really hide their feelings anymore. And let me just tell you, it gets spicy. And here's the holiday part that comes into play. So the whole book is kind of taking place around Thanksgiving to Christmas-ish. So you don't get maybe like the same giddy holiday vibes because Zea Kayleigh Galan did not write it in the way that it is meant to be a Christmas book. It just happens around the holidays. So I think she even labels it as she's marketing her book, because this comes out on December 6th, by the way, but she's marketing it as like holiday vibes, which definitely I can see that. So they get snowed in on Christmas Eve. It ends up being like a white Christmas that they get to wake up to, but Tony couldn't go back home because, you know, the roads were so bad and like he couldn't see, and you know, it was just gonna be a dangerous trek back. So they get snowed in and they heat up in intimate ways in their little hotel room. The next morning, I think it's the next morning, I'm not sure if it's that morning or the morning after or something like that, there is a phone call from Mariah saying that she's like running towards the woods, like help, they took daddy and all this stuff. So we have like this whole suspense part coming into this romance, which I'm here for it. I'm loving this book. I'm loving the character development. It is like a little bit of a slower burn, I would say, because it does take them until maybe what, chapter 25 or 26, something like that, to actually get a little spicy and to kind of finally admit that they have feelings for each other, to each other. But yeah, now we're getting into like what happened to the dad and what's he involved in. I really like Tony. His character is this strong man who is not afraid to stand up to the baby daddy, Colton, and be like, what is your problem? Like, man up and take care of your daughter. Like, if you can't do that, then get the heck out of her life. Like, you are putting people in danger. Like, stop with your BS. Yeah, it's even like a point at the beginning when, like 4 years ago, when Drea and Tony met, he said something like that to Colton because like her car broke down and she got a ride from Tony, and Tony was like, look, if you're not gonna come pick up your girl, someone else is. Like, someone's gonna come take care of her. Don't like get on her about the type of car she drives. If you're not going to be there to help her out, then shut up. I love his like attitude towards, just, it's mostly Colton that he's like that towards, because that's kind of the antagonist in the story. But yeah, I'm really loving this story, and I am getting the holiday vibes in a like roundabout way. So not exactly like your fluffy Christmassy romance or anything. Let's see, I think I've read some very unique books so far, because 'tis the season for revenge. It's kind of like Whisk till Peak, because it's taking place between Halloween to Christmas. You know, they're not really doing all of the holiday, like you're not really seeing a lot of the holiday activities going on, but it just takes place during that time. The last book I read it did take place during Christmas, so you did get a lot of that, but it was a lot more like grief driven. And this one is more of like a romantic suspense. So very interesting so far. And I'm like almost done with the book. I think I'm actually 75% of the way through the book. So I cannot wait to find out what happens in this last 25% and let y'all know what I'm thinking. So far, I'm somewhere between 4 to 5 stars. I'm really liking it, and I think Zea Kayleigh Galan is going to be an auto-buy author for me. I actually pre-ordered this book because I wanted a signed copy, because I have the first book in the series, Saddled with Finesse, and then I recently just picked up the second book in the series as well, Verse to Acclimate. That one follows Melody and Tyson, and then I just saw that she has another book coming out in May 2025 because it popped up on my Goodreads, Roped on the Ridge, but I'm not sure who that story is about because there's no details about it yet. So really loving her work. She started off on Bookstagram, by the way, and has a really big following there. And then she started getting her books published. So definitely check her out on Instagram and see what she's up to, because she is, I think she's a pretty good writer. So I will definitely be buying more of what she puts out. I'm gonna go finish this and let you know my final thoughts. I just finished reading Whisk till Peaked, and I loved it. Loved it so much. I think I'm gonna give this a 5 stars. I have only read Saddled with Finesse by Zea Kayleigh Galan. And I do have the second book as an ARC. I just never got around to it. But I did pre-order it. It's coming soon along with Whisk Till Peaked. And I'm so excited to add it to my shelves because I just absolutely loved it. It's 5 stars. So what I liked about this one, the tension was building. It was very much, you know, falling in love with your best friend and your best friend being just like a totally awesome dude, like just amazing, right? Even the daughter Mariah was very much like, at the end there was, you know, a happily ever after, and essentially she gets to call him dad. Like, she was so excited to call him dad. It was just like so heartwarming and so amazing. I just loved it. And I loved the little holiday vibes that were in it as well. It definitely was like fitting for this season. So I'm very excited that I continued to keep reading and didn't just stop at 'Tis the Season for Revenge, because I got to read a couple more books. I actually received the last 2 books as ARCs, not through NetGalley. So it was really nice to just be able to read one of them slightly after it came out, because it came out like November 15th. And then the last one that I read is coming out in just a few days. So I will leave the links down below for all of these authors and these books and where you can find them, because I'm highly recommending them. I absolutely loved all 3 of the books that I read and had a great time with them all. But I wanted to thank everybody who participated in this collab for joining me, and I'm so excited to see everybody's videos. I will leave the playlist down below with all of the booktubers and their videos who collabed with me on this project, and I hope that you go check them out, subscribe, like all their videos, and before you leave here, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
On TV, couples and Christmas trees, gift wrapping and cheese.